Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Get Started Louisiana. I'm Monty Danos, Field Marketing Director for Cox Business in the Southeast region. We want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. At Cox, our goal is to connect our business and residential customers to the world and everything they care about most. For businesses, from the newest startup to the most established organizations, success is dependent upon connections. Whether it's physical network connections, like Cox Business provides, or personal connections with your customers, suppliers, partners, investors, and the communities you serve. One of the primary functions of this event tonight is to encourage new connections and strengthen existing ones. We're proud to work in an active business community that encourages interaction and sharing of ideas. Each new business success brings benefits to the entire ecosystem, and that's why we're so passionate at Cox Business about supporting our local entrepreneurs. Tonight, we have an incredible panel of experts in business leadership, investment, retail, and printing, and all of them have played a role in helping countless small businesses succeed. We had more than 60 businesses seeking the opportunity to pitch this year. That was a record high for us. Thank you to all of those businesses that applied. We could only pick 5 finalists, but hopefully many of our applicants, as well as aspiring entrepreneurs who simply have a great idea for a business plan, are ready and willing to learn tonight from our panel of experts. I'd like to take a moment and congratulate the 5 finalists for tonight's event. Happy Mop Inc., Herring Labs, VR Arcade NOLA, Our Invention, and Instapath. With help from the Louisiana Small Business Development Center, these companies have been honing their pitches, and we can't wait to hear more about them tonight. A very special thanks is extended to the Louisiana Small Business Development Center for their assistance in both helping select and prepare our finalists. We appreciate your partnership. I would also like to recognize all of our sponsors of Get Started Louisiana. Inc. Magazine for helping us put this event together. Idea Village for their ongoing commitment to New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. WWL Radio, who will be interviewing our winner tomorrow morning live on the radio. Biz New Orleans, who will feature our winner in an upcoming article, and Cox Media for their in-kind promotional and advertising support. We couldn't do this event without our partners, so we're truly appreciative. And lastly, thanks to everyone for joining us here tonight. If you're tweeting, please use our hashtag GetStartedLA. Again, that's hashtag GetStartedLA. Now, I'd like to introduce you all to Ken Kraft, who will moderate our evening tonight. Ken is Senior Vice President of Marketing and Sales Operations for Cox Business in Atlanta. He is responsible for the overall marketing strategy of Cox Business and is a 29-year industry veteran with an extensive track record in sales and marketing strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Kraft.
Thank you. So I'm the old guy here. Monty actually just did my entire introduction, so. But I want to extend my welcome. This is the 3rd time we've been here in New Orleans associated with Entrepreneur Week, and we're thrilled to be here. It's the 26th event that we've done around the country. And as Monty alluded to, Cox Business is very much committed to the startup community in the markets that we served, and I'm just thrilled to be here. I don't know if you noticed behind me, we have a blue velvet couch. The blue velvet couch is there for therapy after the pitchers are done, and they can have a therapy session after the event is over. The entrepreneurial spirit obviously is alive and well here, and it's evidenced by the people that have joined me tonight as panelists. And I'd like to go ahead and introduce them. First of all, I'd like to introduce Susan Cox. And they're all sitting in front of me, by the way, in these little chairs. So Susan is the president of LogoJet, a business she founded 12 years ago with 2016 revenues of $5 million. An early pioneer in direct-to-substrate printing, LogoJet was named to the Inc. 5000 for the last 3 years and posted a 3-year growth rate of 168%. LogoJet printers serve a wide range of industries, including promotional products, signage, home decor, gifting, industry labeling, packaging, and food products. LogoJet's printers are even used to print on edibles such as cookies, candy, and marshmallows. And I believe actually in my room when I got to the Lowe's Hotel, I believe there was some candy that was imprinted with your printers. I'll follow up with you on the customer that left that there for me. Susan's a member of the Acadiana CEO Roundtable and is a member of many printing association organizations. She is a frequent speaker at industry trade shows. Originally from Toronto, Susan relocated LogoJet, and you'll find out the reason why here in a moment, to Louisiana 6 years ago. Please welcome Susan Cox. Next up, the reason she relocated the business to Louisiana is Tom Cox. Let me introduce him. He is the founder and CEO of golfballs.com. Tom launched the first online retail business here in Louisiana. Since its start in 1995, golfballs.com has been named to the Inc. 5000 8 times and has grown to $25 million in annual sales. In 1996, Tom co-founded Einstein Digital Media, a web development firm that grew to be one of the largest in Louisiana prior to it being sold. Tom's a volunteer president of the Opportunity Machine, a business incubator and accelerator based in Lafayette that has been the home to 30 startups in the last 5 years. Tom is vice chair of the Louisiana Immersive Technologies Enterprise and is a member of the Iberia Bank Lafayette Advisory Board. Tom is former chair of the Lafayette Economic Development Authority and was an advocate for entrepreneurship during his time on that as a commissioner on that board. Clearly a powerhouse couple. Susan and Tom recently became limited partners in a new venture capital firm, Tectonic Ventures. Please welcome Tom Cox. Next up, we have the money man. We have Louis Freeman. Louis is a private investor, entrepreneur, and CEO of Innovation Catalyst and the Catalyst Fund of Baton Rouge, a Louisiana-focused entrepreneur development organization and an early-stage startup fund. He is also an advisor to TSB Ventures of Folsom, Louisiana, and is a member of the NOLA Angel Investor Group. Louis has diverse and global investment experience with over 25 years of experience in creating, financing, and managing small businesses in the United States and around the world. His business expertise is wide-ranging across many industries, including computers, electronics, import-export, consumer products, resorts, food and beverage, water and waste management, and sustainability. He currently divides his time between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, developing entrepreneurs and businesses throughout the region. Please welcome Louis Freeman. Last up, I have Lee King. Lee is the vice president of Cox Business here in Louisiana. And since joining Cox, he has overseen the merger of Cox's Acadiana, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans commercial services organizations into a single Louisiana team. Under his leadership, Cox Business has seen explosive growth, and that is driven by the needs and serving the needs of many of you in this audience and all of the businesses in Louisiana. In this role, Lee has a very unique perspective in that he gets to interact with businesses of all sizes and shapes, quite honestly, learning about their operations and then collaborating with them to help them determine how they're going to use technology as part of their growth strategies. Lee is very much a part of the fabric of this business community. A graduate of LSU, Lee currently serves on the board of directors for the Better Business Bureau of South Central Louisiana, the board of directors for Greater New Orleans, and the Louisiana Red Cross. Lee previously served on the Louisiana Business and Technology Center at LSU and the Louisiana Technology Council. Please welcome Lee King. Now we're going to go ahead and get to the real reason we're here. These folks have waited long enough here off to my right, and that is to hear from the 5 entrepreneurs that have come to pitch their business plans. As Monty mentioned, over 60 companies applied to be here tonight, which is a new record for our event here in New Orleans. But these 5 were selected. And I think you're going to see some really interesting and very cool business ideas that you're going to learn about tonight. So here's how it's going to work. Each entrepreneur is going to come up and make a 2.5-minute pitch. That'll be followed, I'll facilitate 5 minutes of Q&A from our panel of judges. The panel will rate each pitch on the following criteria. Target market is 20%. Problem or need solution is 20%. Competition versus competitive advantages is another 20. Revenue model / strategy is another 20. And the final 20 is overall presentation and their ability to handle Q&A. In the event of a tiebreaker, the finalist will be determined based upon the pitcher whose pitch received the highest score for problem or need solution and revenue model and strategy. As Monty alluded to, the grand prize winner will receive a prize package of $10,000 in cash and Cox Business Services, as well as the media opportunities that will be presented tomorrow. The runner-up will receive an iPad Pro from Cox Business Louisiana. And with that, just a final kind of housekeeping item. As we're going through the evening, you guys have an opportunity to participate. When we finish, we'll put up instructions on how to vote for your favorite. And the audience favorite will win an iPad Pro from Cox Business Louisiana. So with that, all the details are laid, the foundation's laid. Let's go ahead and get started. Please welcome to the stage, Happy Mop.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I own Happy Mop, and we make a product called the Eco Challenger. How many of us have been out and about town, be it the drugstore, grocery store, hotel lobby, whatever, and seen the ubiquitous fella mopping, spot mopping, mopping a hall perhaps, maybe a room. They seem to be everywhere. How many of us have experienced that? Right, right. And if we looked in the bucket, what would we see? It's disgusting, right? Well, is the man cleaning the floor? No, of course not. He's just pushing dirt around. So how do we have a breakthrough to change things? It's right here. This is the Eco Challenger. It's the future. It's green. It takes your, you can already see it's maneuverable as hell, right? Like a Volkswagen. It takes a very filthy mop water, or you put your mop in this place like a bucket, and the water turns rancid. And what do? Well, you throw this switch right here, and in less than 2 minutes, the water's clean again. And when I say clean, I mean clean. It gets down to 1 micron. Bacteria is 1 micron in size. It's like magic. You look in there, and all of a sudden, in 2 minutes, the water's clean again. So you're always mopping with clean water. You can use the mop head, same mop head all day because you're rinsing it in clean water. Where could you use this device? Well, anywhere where you're going to have a need of very clean floor, like hospital, clinics, schools, veterinarians. There's a myriad of places out there where you can use this to have a super clean floor, which seems to be non-attainable at this point for the industry. I'd like to point out that this has no peer in the industry that I know of. It has no peer at all.
All right, that's it. Thank you very much. Just stay here. Yep. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with questions. And Tom, how about if we start with you?
Am I? Oh, good, it's on. I was looking for the switch. So, what is the unit going to retail for? And then I've got kind of a follow-on question to that.
Sure, it's $1,247.
And so, I love your video, by the way.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Illustrates everything.
Thank you.
If I were gonna look at the cost, and I noticed that in your video you're cleaning looks like a school cafeteria.
Right.
Something like that. If I were to look at the cost, including the machine, including the filters, including kind of the additional supplies, what would the cost of using your unit, how would that compare to kind of the traditional method?
Oh, well, there's no contest. Our filters are just off the everything is off the shelf. Everything we use to build it is off the shelf. And the filters are less than $5 a pair. And they will last and last and last. Typical question would be, well, how often do you have to change the filters? Well, of course, that has to do with how dirty the floors are. But honestly, I've seen it. I've never, in all my experimentation, I've never had it stall on me.
All right. Next question. Lewis.
Okay. Does the unit use any dangerous chemicals, or is it all natural, or what does it use to filter the water, and how does it do it?
Well, it is indeed a green machine, but what it does is use the same germicide that the industry is using right then. If you go to a hospital, it uses the same stuff the hospital is using. Exactly. It goes into solution and passes right through the filters.
Okay. Susan.
I'd like to know how long will this unit last for a price point for something like that?
It should last several lifetimes. No, Susan, I'm glad you asked that. One of the philosophies I'm an engineer and I like things done properly. So one of my philosophies in developing the thing was to make it really, really robust. So it'd be like in 1955, if your mother bought something for a good amount of money, it would last 20 years, 30 years. Right?
You got to just keep the microphone up to your mouth.
All right, I apologize.
Thank you.
And I've only been a star here just a few minutes. So you have to change out the battery like you do in your car, 3 to 5 years. But other than that, it's you shouldn't have to do anything. It's built like a tank. All the brackets are 1/4-inch aluminum stock. There's nothing on it that will rust. It's all non-ferrous, except for this, and that'll never rust because it's ventilated all the time.
Okay. So,
All right. Follow-on question?
one more question. Just what is the first thing to break on it, and how will you facilitate those repairs?
I'm sorry I couldn't understand you.
What is the first thing that would break on something like this, and how would you facilitate those
Well, that's
repairs?
a very good question. The weakest part of the whole design is the casters, you know. But I've overcome that easily enough with the rationale that the only reason casters go on mop buckets is they're slammed about. Like when they change the water, they go in and they slam it onto this little thing to empty it, and they slam the casters. You never have to do it with this one. So,
Keep that mic close to your mouth. There
so
you go.
they'll probably last 50 years.
All right, Lee, you have a question?
Yes, it would seem to me that hospitals and schools would be a perfect market for this type of invention.
Yes, sir.
Have you done many demos there? And if you have, what was the feedback?
Well, let me say that presently we have a unit being evaluated at the brand new VA hospital. And I'm looking forward to they've received it rather well now. And the guy that's testing it is a really smart fella. He's a Marine. And So we have to see how that goes. It's a
All right.
promise.
All right, one more question, Tom.
So I'm not an engineer, not even close. But it would seem to me that when you run it, it would clean the cleaner out of the water. It cleans the dirt out of the water,
No,
but it
sir,
cleans the
I
cleaner out of
explained
the
that.
water.
I understand that. It goes into solution,
Okay,
and it just passes through the filters.
got it.
Right.
All right, any more questions? All right, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Okay. And but before I step down, I want to thank Cox, Cox the company, for giving all of us an opportunity to do this.
All right, great job. Please welcome to the stage Herring Labs.
Hi, my name's Christopher Herring with Herring Laboratories. I'm a founder. That was such a great job, Jerry. I don't know what to say now. I'd also like to thank Cox for having us. We appreciate it very much. Herring Laboratories basically designs, develops, and commercializes cutting-edge engine efficiency and emission reduction technology. We do this for a whole wide range of industries that use engines that burn carbon-based fuels. The idea of this was to reduce the emissions and make your old engines basically Tier 3 compliant or emission compliant throughout the world. That's a real problem now. So the systems are scalable, and they can be retrofitted to any size and type of engine and basically work on any type of fuel. Currently, we're retrofitting and testing on a ship right now, and the idea is if it all goes well, we'll save them about $1 million+ in replacement costs for their engines. They'll be EPA compliant, they'll be Tier 3 compliant, they can sail that ship anywhere in the world then. Our competition usually is catalytic converters, urea systems, and reformers. The problem with those are they're passive systems. They don't respond or react to the engine throughout its engine load or operation. They're very costly. There's a lot of maintenance with them, and they're, again, passive. They're not active. Bonus to our system is we also provide data tracking, data logging, monitor and management of both the engines and the systems, so you could track and manage and know what your engines and our system is doing globally. You could do this through our touchscreen displays, web browsers, phone apps, or tablets. Currently, we filed for patents here in the U.S. and also PCTs in 138 other countries. Our revenue models use distributors, licensing, leasing, and partnerships to sell and distribute our technology and support our technology. Currently, we're looking at about $20 million in sales on our first 12 months, and we're going to grow over $200 million over the next 5 years. Once we're commercialized, that's what phase we're in right now. We're expected to, we'd like to go build out the U.S. and then the global market, utilizing our distributors and whatnot.
Let's go ahead and get to questions. Lewis.
Have you sold any units yet, or do you just have testing units right now? And what makes up that $20 million worth of first-year revenue? How expensive is that device?
Well, this one here is our demo test model, but what we're doing is if all goes well on the ship, basically that's around $100,000 sale. So compared to $1 million on replacement of engines, more than $500,000 on reformers and other systems. So they'll get away with probably 1/10 of the cost. That's on one ship. So we have a fleet of ships following that. That's about $15 million to us on one order. So then we'll be following up, and we haven't even touched the semis. In our past, we went out and put these on semis and whatnot, and they loved them and wanted them. I was looking more for larger commercialization. I'm not really interested in onesies and twosies. I'm looking to partner with the larger companies and then deploy this globally. So just on some of our sales that are sitting on the table, that the onesies and twosies, we could do about 2,000 sales right today But I'm more interested in the larger ships, generators, kilovolt generators, things like that. Those systems usually, for us, we're probably wholesaling around 15,000 a system. It'll be a lot larger. It's a double redundant system. All the electronics are redundant. It's all mission critical, stainless steel, 3/16. It's the best parts and pieces you could build, and we build everything custom built.
Do you have any actual sales yet?
No. Nope.
Okay. Tom, do you have a question?
Do you see any performance decline? I understand that it improves fuel efficiency and lowers emissions. Your solution. Does performance maintain? Does it stay the same? Do you see it improve? Do you see it decline? Kind of what's the impact on motor performance?
The engines will normally run 1 to 2 degrees cooler. Your engines, it'll burn out the carbon. It's all what you're doing. I mean, it's sophisticated. It took a long time to figure this out, how to match engine load and hydrogen and go through all these processes. But the bottom line is this system is a bigger spark plug. You know, like if you go to NASCAR, they're going to run all these coils and they're going to dump a ton of fuel and they're going to try to burn that fuel faster. You're trying to strip down the fuel molecules. That's what we do. We can put in the right amount of hydrogen. It scales throughout the engine load, and we're stripping down that fuel. So the faster you strip down the fuel, the better the fuel economy, the lesser the emissions, better the motor runs. It's a natural scale. It's like a hysteresis effect also. It'll cool the top end of the piston. I could do this all night. I mean, there's a lot of science. Like, believe it or not, we have well over $2 million invested in this in 9 years. So those are our own control boards. There's nothing off the shelf except the Croydon relay, and there's no need to figure out how to build a relay. That's pretty simple.
All right, next question, Lee.
How competitive is your marketplace, and what sort of advantages do your patents give you with this unit over other competitors?
Well, we pretty much patent the design and the application. So our cores are better, so they're patented. The process, the injector systems, and the way we went about pretty much applying the technology. If you look online, you'll see a lot of people bubble something into an engine. There's really no controls. There's no processing. They don't know what the motor's doing. It's just going in there. So that's not how you do this. What you need to do is you need to understand what the engine is, what load it's at any particular point in time. And you need to be able to translate that to how much hydrogen you're going to put in that engine at that specific time. There can't be a delay, because if you're behind that delay, you have other hysteresis effects. So we're constantly monitoring and managing both the engine and the hydrogen production and the flow. This system also runs under pressure. So once it develops, it'll run under 50 psi. It uses a true pulse width modulation injector system. We have also other things that we're patenting that we're going to do that's better than that. But for now, we're using their hydrogen injectors. So basically like your car. You know, you could meter that fuel in very precisely. And that's what it requires to, you know, make this happen. It's not by chance.
Okay. All right, next question, Susan.
So with the initial investment for a customer, I assume you're maintaining, monitoring this for a certain period of time. Do you plan on having maintenance contracts that are going to bring in additional recurring revenue stream for the company?
Right. What we're doing is we're looking to work with our partners on that. So basically, because you can monitor, manage, and track, you can set up electronic fences, and there's a whole plethora of things you could do added that just comes with the system. So yes, there's various, that's why I said there's leasing, licensing, distributorships, and partnerships. Now some of those will pass on to the distributor. We're not greedy. We're looking to, basically what I like to do is stay in the manufacturing and keep updating the technology, and then we're going to train up and pass along a lot of these benefits to our partners.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well done. All right, next up, VR Arcade.
Well, thanks, everybody. I first knew I wanted to start my company about 6 months ago. I was in New York City, about 100 feet underwater, standing on the bow of a sunken pirate ship. Fish and manta rays swirled all around me, and when I looked to my left, an enormous blue whale came swimming all the way up to me and stopped 3 feet in front of my face. And I just broke down laughing. That's when I knew I wanted to work in virtual reality. My name's David Denny. I'm the co-founder of VR Arcade NOLA. What we do is provide virtual reality entertainment services. VR is the next major technological revolution. The next 10 years will be VR dominated as the past 10 years were dominated by the smartphone. The problem is over 99% of people have not tried truly immersive VR technology. The high-end equipment that is available is prohibitively expensive, and the cheaper smartphone applications tend to cause headaches and are only a weak impression of what VR can be. At VR Arcade NOLA, we solve that by providing high-end immersive VR experiences at a minimal cost. We partner with local event planners and destination management companies and are hired to provide virtual reality entertainment services for private events, ranging from corporate conventions all the way to children's birthday parties. We also partner with local bars and music venues and provide pop-up virtual reality arcades where anybody can step up and try some VR firsthand for just a couple bucks. Since we launched in December, we've had over 1,000 paying customers. We've had 500% month-over-month revenue growth, and we have yet to have a single negative review, and we're just getting started. Our goal is to build the first permanent virtual reality arcade in all of the Southeast, right here in New Orleans. There are other VR arcades that are sprouting up in other tech hubs in the city, in the country rather, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and there are hundreds in China, but there's nothing in the Southeast, and we want to be the first. And New Orleans has a booming tech scene. Over 5,000 new tech jobs have been created here in New Orleans since 2009, and we want to harness that creative tech talent. Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause. That's awesome. Great job, tech people. So we know that this industry is projected to grow from $3 billion a year annually to $30 billion by 2020. We know that this is the right time to launch this business. Help us make New Orleans the right place. Thank you.
Well done. All right, who has the first question? All right, Tom.
So you clearly have some traction in the market, and you have people really enjoy working with you and your experience. Now that you've got some traction, what's your competitive advantage should someone else come along and say, "Wow, I like what they're doing. I want to do it here, and then I want to roll it out all over the place too." Kind of what's your competitive advantage?
For sure, yeah, that's a great question. So there's basically two opportunities. One is obviously that we are the first, right? We want to be the first arcade in all of the Southeast. And so we'll have that founders effect, and we have a lot of pull with that. Additionally, what we hope to incorporate is because there is so much tech talent here, we want to start partnering with local content creators to create VR experiences that you can only get in New Orleans. So imagine some kind of physical contraption where, say, you're suspended, but there's a VR headset on you and you feel like you're flying. That's the kind of stuff we could do with a permanent space, and that's what we're hoping to pull off here.
VR technology is really cool, and if you had a chance to look at your device outside, it's a lot of fun. But what is your pricing structure, and how do you charge for your service? Do you charge the event itself? Are you going to charge per use? What's your revenue strategy, and how does that scale beyond one arcade, or how do you apply that to a much larger company?
Sure. Yeah, good question. And just a quick aside, Lewis is a phenomenal virtual archer. He proved that today. So great work, Lewis. Excellent target practice there. Yeah, so in terms of the revenue model, so we have a couple different avenues. There's private events and parties, conventions. That can range from anywhere to a couple $100 to a couple $1,000, depending on the duration and number of VR stations. There's the arcade approach, which is anybody can come up and try virtual reality for $1 or $2 per minute. And there's also the ability to, like we were speaking of, kind of create some of our own content and potentially have that as special events, private parties, demos, things like that. What we want to do is establish this first arcade and establish profitability here. Given the lease rates in the warehouse district in New Orleans, we think we can do that with about 10% capacity of total playing time, that we can be profitable in a space with just 10% of people using it. Once we're profitable here, we want to expand to other cities with other arcades.
All right. Susan.
So generally, event organizing companies, they typically own their own equipment, like photo booths and just different equipment for entertainment. What prevents the event companies from purchasing their own VR system and providing it on their own?
They certainly could do that. It is quite a bit more complex than a photo booth system, and it's also much more expensive. So we're talking about thousands of dollars for just one station. On top of that, the content is constantly being updated and changed, and we constantly review those options to curate and present the best to the event planner. So certainly they could do that if they wanted to have a full-time person on staff spending thousands of dollars on VR. Most companies that do event planning don't want that, and they prefer to hire us.
Okay, Lee.
So you mentioned that there is a bricks and mortar piece of this where you're looking to open an arcade, and then there's a substantial opportunity in events. What percentage of your focus is going to be on the bricks and mortar and opening additional arcades versus going out and searching for those virtual opportunities?
Yeah, so to date, it's been 100% events and private parties, things like that, pop-up arcades. Moving forward, we'd like to secure a permanent location and have a full-time arcade available. We would anticipate that 60 to 70% of all of our revenue would come from that, and the remainder would be filled in by private events. So say if a convention's in town and wants a cool space for a happy hour, or say, no, he's here next year and needs a really cool place for a happy hour after this, a virtual reality arcade would be the place to go.
Thank you.
All right. Other questions? Tom, you got a question?
You know, I just keep thinking about my iPhone and my desktop PC kind of moving down that road. And at some point, there's plenty of content. Everybody's making content. And at some point, everybody's phone, you have goggles. And it may not be exactly like that, but it's pretty close to that. It's kind of the devil's like, what are your comments on that?
The question being that other people will have this?
I guess is that technology, or close to that technology, may be ubiquitous in the near future.
I think it will be. So I think that there is a window for this opportunity, and that's why we're going to start it right now. I do think, 10 years down the road, there's going to be a lot of mobile-based VR applications available that are accessible to the public. That's not the case right now, and we want to capture that market.
Great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, next up, RNvention. Floor is yours.
$130 billion. That's the healthcare inefficiency cost in the U.S. every year. RNvention has a solution to help assist with this critical cost and at the same time can make the delivery of care easier. My wife and I are registered nurses. We have 37 years of experience, and we formed RNvention because we believe that nurses want to provide the best care available and that patients deserve better. Think about the last time you or your loved one was in the hospital. How much time did that nurse spend at the bedside? How many times did she walk in and walk out? Nurses are leaving the bedside and walking 3 miles a day in search of tools and equipment to do their jobs. Why? Because it's impossible to stock every room, so we try to stock our pockets. But what if we can do something to make things better? Introducing the Multinix. It's light in weight, it's easy to clean, it's easy to use. It's a utility tool for nurses that has 15 features that allow nurses to get their shifts done, right? And the only thing even comparable is a Leatherman tool, which is built for an adjacent market. It's built for the paramilitary, male-dominated workforce. We're building our product for the 9.4 million nurses that are 87% female. They're doing more delicate nursing duties. They have more dexterity needs like cutting, torquing, untwisting IVs. And we've had over 300 nurses help us adapt our design 5 times over the last 2 years. And we will be in market in the next 8 weeks, manufacturing right here in the great state of Louisiana with packaging and assembly by the Association of the Blind. And we see profitability in year 1 with margins of 60 to 70%, charging a premium price for our premium product, selling B2B and B2C. B2B will pay 50, B2C will pay 70, and we'll reach those customers through direct and online media marketing strategies, and we will deliver our device directly to their door through drop shipping. We are ready to launch. We have 4 hospitals waiting on our first manufactured run. We have received initial investments, and we are seeking additional investments to grow our team. In healthcare, saving time means saving lives. The Multinix allows nurses to be better equipped, better efficient, and in the long run, provide more affordable healthcare. How many people in here know a nurse? Ask them about the struggles to get things done and how they will benefit from having Multinix, the utility tool for nurses. Thank you.
Great job. Well done. All right, we'll move to questions. Who has the first question for our invention? Lee.
You mentioned that you have 4 hospitals that are waiting on your unit. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what will you retail the units for?
To the hospitals for $50, and the deal that we worked out with them is they would basically be getting our first product on a freemium basis, but we'll get to go in there and do all the videos and things like that. So I'm almost trading them for the PR that we'll be able to get from it.
And you mentioned the target market. There's 9.4 million nurses.
That's a global. Just
Okay.
in Louisiana, we have 50,000 nurses. But one thing to note about our device is we have vertical markets. And just because we're addressing nurses because it's the easiest one with the largest target, but I'm also a respiratory therapist and I would use this device. There's all kinds of other people in the hospital that will use the device. In fact, we had to take the battery and the flashlight out so we can let the OR department use it. Now it's out of autoclavable Ultam material, which is $15 per pound for that plastic. Well, maybe I shouldn't be talking about. Anyway.
And one more question. Did I hear you, the packaging that you mentioned, how
Yep.
will that be done?
Louisiana Association of Blind, they can actually package for us. So it's going to just be this, basically it's a blister packet. But the first initial ones are going to be in this clear silicone packaging.
Thank you.
Okay. Lewis.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from here. How many devices does it replace? What does it do? And is it considered a medical device? And do you have an FDA approval process? And does it have to be sterilized in between uses? Explain to me how it saves the nurse's time and what does it do?
So briefly on the saving time, this is what I honestly carry because I worked the past 2 days in the hospital. This is what I carry. The big things are the Caesars hemostat and oxygen key. It has 15 plus features. Most of our nurses are over the age of 50 and do have dexterity issues. So one, it is an assembly of all this into one. The second thing is saving time. If I go to your room, as a patient, I need an oxygen key. I have to physically walk out, find that oxygen key. The oxygen key is not there because, maybe Miss Susan had to go downstairs. Now I have to go find someone else. I have to find Wayne, find the oxygen key and come back. So not only do I not have the equipment I need, I have left you as the patient, and I have also bothered him looking for equipment. So that's the efficiency route.
As far as the FDA is concerned, this would be considered a pre-market exempt. We've already paid for a couple of opinions. We have not officially filed with the FDA. And as far as cleaning, it'll be made out of a stainless steel and non-porous plastic, which is autoclavable. But depending on what hospital you work at, it's pretty much the same thing as a stethoscope that nurses wear, as long as you can wipe it down with some sort of alcohol or something like that, because our device is not made to be used on the patient, unlike the stethoscope is. Ours is for everything we're doing around the patient. And just like before you touch that IV, you're supposed to wipe it with alcohol. There really is no difference.
All right, Susan.
So I assume there's like multi-use, like maybe 30 different uses for this one utility product, for example.
Correct.
So does it require education? Does a nurse just know to look at it and go, I know exactly all of these things I can do with it?
Well, that's one of the things that we were trying to eliminate, what we call feature creep. We didn't want to microwave with 10,000 things. But again, just being able to have the interaction with some of the nurses at LSU and over these 300 nurses, we will have in the packaging how to use it, and we also do plan on having the videos from the hospitals that will be using it for the first time. And we do plan on doing the seminars and going to the conferences again with the online media strategies and that sort of stuff. We do plan on educating while we're actually trying to acquire sales.
All right.
So you're just now in the manufacturing stage. I walked through your booth earlier and I saw like the basic prototype and then another prototype. It seems like you've got several iterations going.
Yeah. No, so that was just showing the progression, the linear progression that we had over the last years. And we have 5 manufacturing options right now. The challenge has been trying to stay in the United States. And we all know the issues with going overseas. So we're actually trying to find that balance. And we've been able to talk to some local people now that we're starting to get some recognition. To be able to start with a small volume run, that's the challenge. We're not trying to make 10 million of these things. I only want 1,000 on my first production run.
So you're about to start manufacturing or you've begun the process?
So what you saw out there was for 3D printing, and I actually submitted my drawings last week, and they're changing that for actual mass manufacturing, and I can show you the email that came this afternoon that the quotes are already there.
Great.
Other questions? Susan.
So I'm a lefty, so does this device work for left-handers as well?
Well, all devices in healthcare are for left or right. So, I mean, you have to kind of get used to that. No, the percentage of the market that's left-handed is very minimal. But one of the things with the newer version, it actually comes apart for even easier cleaning. So that was one of the things that we learned. And we also have replaceable blades in the handle. So.
Last question, real quick, Louis.
Is your customer the nurse themselves? Could you buy this and bring it to work? Or does the hospital have to provide it and
Well, as you may know, with all the challenges that we're having in healthcare, it's very hard to get the hospitals to buy anything unless you have a proven study that it actually benefits the patient. But that being said, that's kind of why we pivoted to, if you look at her shoes right now, that's $130. Nurses will buy whatever makes their job easier, and we do plan on selling directly to the nurses. However, talking with some of the administrators like Carrie Templeton and Lafayette General, she's very interested in having these for, I don't know if I should be saying, but for 5-year nurses that have been there for tenured, maybe not stocking every nurse, but almost like an employee retention sort of thing. So this would be, again, the high-end, snap-on version type of tool. We want something that's really going to last and not disposable.
Great. Great job. Thank you very much. Great job. Very nice. All right, our last picture of the evening is Instapath Bioptics. Please welcome them to the stage.
Okay, by show of hands, who has been affected or known someone with cancer? Okay, now look around the room and remember that for most cancers, patients have to undergo invasive biopsy procedures just to get a diagnosis. The diagnosis is dependent upon a quality assurance step that is slow and inaccurate. So unfortunately, 2 weeks after the biopsy, 1 out of every 5 patients finds out their results are inconclusive. And this means that they have to wait 6 anxiety-filled weeks just to come back and have another invasive biopsy procedure with needle sticks. $8 billion are spent to perform 5 million biopsy procedures per year. So there is clearly an unmet need for ensuring biopsy quality and reducing repeat procedures. I'm David Tolman, co-founder of Instapath, and for the past 5 years, our team has been working to solve this problem. We are PhD students and faculty from Tulane University, and we have developed a technology to ensure biopsy diagnosis. The current method uses 2 doctors just to look at part of the biopsy. Instapath has developed an imaging solution to directly view the whole biopsy within seconds of removal. Our accuracy reduces the repeat procedure rate, and that can save over $700 million in costs. So other companies are trying to solve this problem, but they cannot match our imaging speed. We reduce the time that it takes to perform a biopsy procedure, and that means that hospitals can schedule more billable procedures and physicians can treat more patients. That equates to over $2,000 per hour in revenue potential for the hospitals. We're currently running local clinical studies, but we also have future collaborations in place with 2 of the largest cancer centers in the US, and we are working with them to finalize our prototype. We have a 90% profit margin on our hardware, software, and volume-based disposable sales related to the imaging. And when we sell 15 units, we will break even. So we're raising money to improve our prototype and conduct final clinical testing. So please, help Instapath help millions of patients per year get their diagnosis and treatment sooner. And thank you.
Well done. All right, who has the first question for Instapath? All right, Tom.
Does it replace or does it supplement the current process?
It replaces the intraoperative quality evaluation step, and it supplements the final pathology report.
So it speeds it up.
It speeds the procedure itself up.
It
Yes.
speeds it up, but you still have the additional 2-week wait for kind of the finalization of the results.
So the 2-week wait will be for the absolute final diagnosis, but with our accuracy of imaging during the procedure, we can ensure that it will be right because we're directly looking at it.
Okay, Lewis.
What is the accuracy? You keep mentioning accuracy, but you didn't specify what that is. And if there's still a requirement for a 2-week wait before definitive diagnosis, is there any point in having that quick solution?
The accuracy in our preliminary studies is 90% compared to the final pathology report. And most institutions perform the quality assurance procedure right now. So we're just a better version of the quality assurance procedure during the procedure.
Is 90% enough? I mean, what is the accuracy of the 2-week return? And can you take the risk that maybe somebody has to have a major cancer surgery on a 90% chance that they're right?
All right, so the accuracy of the 2-week return is the final diagnosis, and we're not replacing that. But the accuracy of the quality evaluation step is between 70 and 80%. So we're at 90%, so we're reducing the need for repeats in half.
You know, adding to that question, how long of an incubation period will your testing require you to be before this is certified, where those accuracy measures can actually be certified for the hospitals?
It will take us 1 year to finalize the prototype, and then 2 to 3 years to conduct the proper clinical testing for FDA approval to get there.
Okay. Other questions? Susan.
So I understand the price point on a unit like this is $100,000 per
Yes,
unit?
correct.
Okay. Generally, I've seen medical equipment have a sales cycle of a minimum of 1 year buying cycle. Do you see that this product falls within that type of sales cycle too?
So we've looked into that. If we're selling on the $100,000 level, hospital value-added committees who make the purchasing decisions usually take less than 6 months for those sales to go through, and that's why we're not choosing a higher price point, because those sales cycle can take 18 months.
Okay. Other questions? All right, Tom.
So if given a choice between 90% now and I would take the 90% now. I mean, it's not a question, but I think we live in a world of we want immediate results. And so kind of I like the direction that you're going with this. It provides a quick, more accurate kind of snapshot of results that you would have to wait a grueling 2 weeks to get.
Thank you.
No question.
Okay. Anything else? Lewis.
What is your competition? You didn't address competition.
Right. So there are 2 imaging companies, Faxitron and Mammatone, that have technologies that are specialized to solve a similar problem, but they're only specialized for breast tissues, and we have a better imaging quality than them. There are other companies that are trying to solve the problem as well. Cellvizio is one of them, but we're a faster technology. So what we offer is the marriage between speed, accuracy, and being able to look at all organs.
All right. Thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you.
All right. Let's hear it for everybody that pitched tonight. It's not very easy to do. It takes a lot of guts to get up here and do what they just did, and you should all be very proud of what you did tonight. All of you did a fantastic job. Another round of applause for everybody. All right, so as our judges finish up tallying their scorecards, it's time for you all to vote for who you thought was the best pitch this evening. And on the slide behind me is kind of the way to do that. I know you guys have all been tweeting as I was flying down here and looking at the NOE Twitter feed. There was a whole lot of tweeting going on. And we encourage you to do so tonight. So for the next 5 minutes, voting will be open. We encourage you all to do that. You text one of the keywords below for each one of ours. Make sure you use all caps and text it to 22333. And we encourage you to do that. And again, voting will be open for the next 5 minutes or so. So what I like to do is, as we're tallying the votes from the judges, is have an opportunity to ask them a few questions and share some words of wisdom or some insights that they have had. And I think I'll start with Lewis. And Lewis, I mean, everybody in here that's an entrepreneur or a startup is always thinking about capital and funding. And since you're in that world and you live there every day, what kind of advice do you have for those in the audience that are trying to secure funding? What are some tidbits you can give to them?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate all of the teams that presented up here. I have the privilege of knowing some of you in advance, but not all of you. I thought all the presentations were very concise, very informative, very well done. You obviously know your product, and that is the answer to your question as it comes to funding. Any company that's looking for early stage or startup funding needs to know their product really well, and they need to know their customer really well. The customer is probably the most important part because it's easy to get lost in an invention and lose sight of what the market really wants. And so it's very, very important for entrepreneurs to pay close attention and do their market research. And I think all of you have done a good job with that.
Great job. They have good advice. Thank you very much for sharing that. Susan, my next question is for you. There's a lot of people here who are interested in meeting you and hearing from you and the success that you've had. And I was just curious, what ignited the spark in you to start LogoJet? And you know, how did that idea for that business come about? If you could share that with us.
So I've always been a big fan of technology in general. Personalization has been it's very, very close to my heart. And so getting into the printing business was very easy for me because I was already in a promotional products business. And so I came into an opportunity to manufacture an inkjet printer using an Epson printer. So we were taking existing technology and just doing something beyond what paper was designed to do. And so since I started that in 2005, every day has been a different challenge, different product, different application, and I really enjoy that challenge. It's never the same thing every day, and so I get to be creative in every situation and work with entrepreneurs every day of all sorts of industries and sizes.
Great. Thank you very much. Tom, you've been very successful. And I'm just curious as to what would be the 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you would give to anyone who wants to start a business or become an entrepreneur?
So before starting golfballs.com, I was already in the golf business, and I was passionate about computers, and the internet came along, and I thought I'd lost it. You know, Michael Dell had already started Dell and when I was in college and all that, and so I thought I was out. And then came the internet. And so I decided to become an expert in that, and because I had a passion for computers and I knew golf, and so I was kind of the right person to start golfballs.com, but because of my background and my experience leading up to it. And so my word of advice, and by the way, you guys did a fantastic job up here today, hard decision, is that find your sweet spot. And the sweet spot to me is what you're passionate about, what you're good at, and where there's a market opportunity. If you can kind of draw a Venn diagram, and whatever's right in the middle of that, of those overlapping circles, is a great place for you to live in a business or start a business because you'll be passionate about it and you'll be able to stay there.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate you sharing that. Lee, what's the best advice that you've received in your career that you still follow to this day?
You know, Ken, first I would like to thank and congratulate all of our presenters today. 3rd year that we've hosted this event, and by far, top to bottom, the best presentations that I've seen. So congratulations.
Yeah. Great job.
And then I would also like to thank our Cox Business team, our marketing team, our public relations team. Great event. Thank you for all the hard work that you've put in tonight as well. Getting to the question, Ken, what's made me successful over the years is maybe a cliche, but it's really surrounding myself with great people. I've been blessed to be in the role I'm in now at Cox Business for 13 years. And as Ken mentioned earlier, we've had unbelievable growth in the South Louisiana markets. And a lot of that's just due to having a great people, having a great brand, and really surrounding myself with phenomenal people. But the other thing that's already been mentioned is really know your customers and be accessible to your customers and be willing to take feedback from your customers and evolve. If you're not able to evolve and change and meet the needs of your customers, you know, what you've all presented today, which may solve a need today, as competition comes into your market, you've got to be willing to evolve and meet their needs.
It's great advice. Well, judges, I really appreciate you guys being with us this evening, taking the time and investing in the individuals that came here to pitch tonight. And as FYI, as we'll finish the event, they'll still be around. You'll have an opportunity to meet them and talk to them afterwards and pick their brains a little bit more. I wanted to kind of, as we start to close out the evening, I did want to take a moment and welcome to the stage Natisha Nat from the Louisiana Small Business Development Center. As was mentioned earlier, we've partnered with her very closely, and she's played a big part tonight. I'd like to invite her up to the stage to make a special presentation.
Thank you, and thank everyone here tonight as well. Congratulations, first off, to the finalists tonight. This was an amazing group of small businesses, and I do not envy the judges at all. You guys have a tough decision tonight. But I want to personally thank Cox for inviting the Louisiana Small Business Development Center here tonight to participate in this event. We are the only statewide, nationally accredited program that helps entrepreneurs across the state. And our goal is to help small businesses thrive. And for nearly 35 years, we have been doing just that, helping emerging and existing entrepreneurs realize their business goals. Last year alone, we touched nearly 8,000 entrepreneurs through our consulting and training services and helped them start 108 businesses, create over 900 jobs, increase sales by $35 million, and access more than $74 million in capital. But those successes are not just in Louisiana. It's happening across the country. In Louisiana, we are part of a national network of SBDCs, America's Small Business Development Center Network. It's comprised of 63 networks across the country with more than 1,000 locations nationwide. Together, we've helped business owners increase sales by $6.9 billion across the nation just last year alone. Today, SBDCs across the country congratulated and celebrated millions of entrepreneurs who have been able to overcome challenges, discover new opportunities, and unlock their potential with the SBDC. And today has been declared National SBDC Day. So in honor of this special occasion, I would like to present Diane Sclafani, who is with the Louisiana Small Business Development Center in New Orleans, with a signed proclamation from the governor stating that today, March 22nd, National Small Business Day in Louisiana. Thank you.
Very cool. All right, how about that? All right, so we're near the end of our program, and I have the winners to announce. As Monty mentioned at the beginning of the program, and we talked about tweeting, a random tweet has been selected to win a Apple Watch, and hopefully that person is here because you must be present to win. Jenny Sao, TSAO. Is Jenny still here? All right, come on up here. Being loud and being part of the conversation. All right, we have our winner from the audience voting, and the prize is an iPad 2. And the winner from all of the audience participation is Instapath. So come on up. Come on up here really quick. There we go. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All right, now I'm ready to announce the grand prize winners as a result of our esteemed panel of judges. And as we all mentioned, everybody did a phenomenal job tonight. And I would agree with Lee, really strong pitches, really tight and crisp, which is a key to what you guys are trying to do to be successful. So with that, I know it was very difficult, but I'm here to announce that the winner of Get Started Louisiana, the 3rd annual, is Instapath. Come on up. All right, we welcome Instapath to get their picture taken. Do you want it up here, or do you want them to get it? We'll get it up here. All right, please come to the stage. Come on, guys, you deserve it. Come on up here. There'll be plenty of photo opportunities, but let's get a quick one with you all. Lee, come on up here real quick. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming tonight. We appreciate it. Again, thanks to all of our pitchers this evening. Again, you should all be very proud of what you accomplished, and we wish you much success. As the next part of our evening is a transition to an after party and an event just in the room right next to me. So the whole point of this event is for you guys to continue to network, talk to each other, share ideas and best practices. So please stay with us and make your way over to the room just where you came in. Thank you very much for coming this evening.